Take a Ride podcast. I'm your host here, Starks. You can find me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. I'm not here alone this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world. I have the three-man running the wing, LT the Sage in the corner. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing the Carmelo three-man right to the dome, man. I'm ready to go.
I bet you are, but I don't know how Portland's going to look finishing this game. But, with that said, we're going to talk about a little bit of the recent news kind of going on. It's obviously a little bit of a slate of games, but we want to touch up on a new game I think it's going to be called Guess Who in particular. But before we get into that, we want you guys to make sure you check out the site, newlifefantasy.com. Make sure you guys join on the mailing list, join as a member. When you guys join and look on the forum, there's something important that you need to look in there that may be very interesting for you guys, needless to say. Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast as well as give a 5-star review. Then obviously on the YouTube side of things, make sure you sub-zero that button, subscribe at the bottom, hit that thumbs up. Also, make sure you comment below, hit that bell. So whenever we drop an episode, you guys will be notified. So that's going to be definitely excellent. So the Guess Who game is going to kind of go about of the business. We're going to talk about a team on which players are performing well and what players are not performing so well. And at the same time, we'll kind of tie it in with a buy low type of players. And maybe we're going to try to buy low on them and maybe we don't so much. And then we'll touch up on a dynasty guy that I think it's important, especially with Vooch out for about 4 weeks. And I think he might be out longer than that, right? Aaron Gordon was also mentioned that he's going to be out indefinitely. So the guy I want to talk about in the dynasty format is Mo Bamba. So with that being said, I'm ready to take people on for a ride. So in the aspect of what's going on here, before we get to the Guess Who game on the teams, I wanted to say that we're recording while the Portland game is going on, and also say that it looks like Lonzo Ball is probable. And I think that what was mentioned is he's going to get maybe about 20, 25 minutes his game back. So that's a good sight to see. So if we can kind of transition to the Guess Who game, LT, and I'm going to put you on the spot, in this aspect. So looking at the rankings here, currently this year, there's about 15 games in the season. We'll kind of go into the Knickerbockers, right? The New York Knicks. Who do you think on that team currently right now is having the best value in a 9-cat category league?
9-cat category league. Okay. So we're gonna look at the Knicks team.
Okay.
We're gonna look at it real quick. I'm gonna show the fans. I got an idea already in my head who it is.
I bet you do.
I already got an idea, but we're gonna go ahead and look at the squad and see here roster. All right. So you got to think about the starters. R.J. Barrett, Marcus Morris, Taj Gibson, Julius. I can't believe I just said Taj Gibson. Julius Randle and Frank Ntilikina. But basically, based on the information on a 9-cat category league, I would probably say it's Julius Randle from the New York Knicks.
I need a buzzer button because that was incorrect.
Ooh.
But you know what's funny, LT, is that should be the right answer, right? Mm-hmm. He should be the best player on that team. And that's the thing, that's the beauty of fantasy, that we always draft the players that we want to expect to be the best player on the team. So I'll say it like this, because some of these questions are tough. And obviously, you're just going off the roster, which is perfectly fine. I will give you another shot, right? So we're going to give you, basically, we'll just be like at the free throw line. So you get 2 shots, okay? Mm-hmm. So Julius Randle, and I'll kind of expand a little bit more on who it is and who may be ahead of him or whatnot. But if you want to take another shot, I'm all for it, LT, from the New York Knicks. Go ahead.
There's no way. It can't be that guy. There's no way. But I'll go ahead and throw it out there. There's no way it's him. But Marcus Morris.
That is correct there, brother.
Oh, no.
You hit this. You hit your second shot, so you're 50. You're 1 for 2 so far for tonight, the charity stripe. That's a beautiful thing. Listen, to the listeners out there, it's not easy as it appears, right? Because again, we draft the players that we want to perform at their ADP. And that's not to say that's just going to be like this the rest of the season. But let me say it like this, LT. What if I was to say that, Julius Randle, he's not even second on this list on New York. Isn't that a little concerning? Right?
That's super concerning. Yeah, that's crazy.
What if I said in a 9-cat category league right now, ADP wise, and this guy's coming off the bench, Mitch Robinson is the second best on the team right now.
Come on, man.
And he's coming off the bench.
Even getting fist popped the last couple.
Yeah. Even getting fist popped, coming off the bench, getting his minutes reduced, just randomly, right? Mitch Robinson is still ahead of Julius Randle. And you're thinking like, well, the only safe players in New York, at least it seems, right, is going to be glorious Julius Randle. And then you would think maybe RJ Barrett. They seem to be the only guys that get the minutes safe there, supposedly. But that is just crazy to see. But as of right now, Marcus Morris, he's performing at a top 56 ADP ranking per game value. Now, that's something crazy. Now, honestly, that's more of a sell high type of situation. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense in that aspect. But he is pumping up the volume. And you would think, well, could it change? Obviously, Julius Randle he should be better than Marcus Morris at the end of the season. But I think this is an interesting game of guess who. So we'll go on to another team. And that one was actually pretty tough. The last one is going to be the funniest one. Well, I wouldn't even say the funniest one, the toughest one, right? So let's kind of go into the Pelicans, right? All right. So we're going to go to the New Orleans Pelicans as you pull up the roster. And, looking at that roster, I will pass you back the ball. You're at the charity stripe. You got 2 shots there, brother. Who is the best ADP-wise currently right now in volume from the New Orleans Pelicans, brother?
Ooh. This seems like an easy answer, right? But Starks, look at him grinning. Right? I don't know, listeners. He's grinning. I'm going to have to go with my gut here. My gut tells me in 9-cat leagues, right?
That is correct. 9-cat category leagues, kind of like a redraft. You can even include Dynasty because we're Dynasty driven, but we give you that redraft flavor and points flavor, but it's tailored to more the Dynasty redraft 9-cat category leagues. Yes, sir, brother.
All right. I'm going to, this is my gut. I'm going with my gut. Drew Holiday.
That is incorrect, but that is okay. That is okay because, as you know, LT, we're rivals here, right?
Yes.
So me, it's a lot of shard gun illusions and a lot of things that I can kind of pass you the ball in that aspect, but that's okay. So right now you're 1 for 3 at the charity stripe. It is not Drew Holiday. He's not the top guy or the top dog there ADP wise in New Orleans Pelicans. So you get another shot at the charity stripe. Your last one here for this team. Who would it be?
All right, so it's not Drew. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go with my second. You always got to go for at least one out of the 2. I'm gonna say Brandon Ingram.
That is correct.
Okay. See, Sharon got illusions. Exactly. Hey, Sharon got illusions. That's who I wanted to say, but I was like, nah, it's probably a trick.
And what's funny is I thought the same thing. I felt like, this is what the Guess Who game. It's going to make you think like, well, it should be Brandon Ingram, right? Because he's exploding. But wait a minute. Starks is kind of throwing this game out. Maybe there's someone else up the sleeve that is actually doing better. But no, you're 2 for 4 at the charity stripe. Yes, Brandon Ingram currently right now is the ADP around the 18 range. Drew Holiday is still doing good. He's starting to pick back up. But Brandon Ingram currently right now is the top dog. So not too bad. You're still kind of punting at the free throw line like you're Andre Drummond.
A little drumstick. 50%. Yeah, man.
Yeah, a little drumstick action. But hey, this is a tough game, honestly, and you're just looking at the roster, and I think that's beautiful here. So we'll get back into another team here. And the team that definitely needs to be highlighted on, we got about 3 more teams, I believe.
Okay.
So let's go on to the Toronto Raptors. Ooh. This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the Toronto Raptors, as the listeners know, this team has been very underrated. I guess they're pretty underrated. And they run a tight rotation. as LT would mention, that he always looks at the dynamic of teams, which is very important in fantasy, on how tight the rotations are, because that's going to help you listeners out on how to navigate with players and moving forward. So, LT, on the Raptors roster, guess who is the best player currently ADP-wise in a 9-cat category league as of right now?
As of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not gonna think too hard about this one. We're gonna go with Pascal Siakam.
That is incorrect.
Hey man, these Sharingan illusions. Okay. Okay. All right.
That is all right. You get one more shot here, brother.
One more shot, right? Okay.
So what you right shoot? Now, you're two for 5 right now.
2 for 5 right now. That's okay. 3 for 6. Hey, that wins championships, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
Okay. So if it ain't him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it has to be, and this is I know what I want to say.
I know what you want to say.
You know what I want to say. But what I'm going to say is Chris Boucher.
That is incorrect. That is okay.
Is it OG, man? If it's OG, I'm going to be upset.
Let me ask you this. Do you want to take more shots?
No. We'll keep it at 2. We'll keep it at 2.
Okay. So you failed, but it's okay. But I'll tell you like this: you would have said OG. I'm glad you didn't take another shot, because you would have been incorrect on that too.
Woo.
And that's crazy, because OG's been killing it, right?
Yeah.
Pascal is the second best player right now in ADP wise on Toronto. The best player right now. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
It's Fred Flintstone VanVleet.
Flintstone?
That's right. He's ranked 23 currently. He came after you hard. So he is the top 23rd person currently at this time now. This is more of a sell high moment. Okay. This is not sustainable. We obviously want to believe that Pascal Siakam is the better player. And honestly, this is easy. This type of game of illusions could be easily get anybody wrong, because that's just how it is. Players change on the dime, and sometimes it's sustainable and sometimes it's not. So you are shooting 2 for 6. Let's try to get you a better rate. So let's put it this way. If you make the first shot, we'll kind of count that as 2 made shots to kind of help the percentages here. All right. So I think we have 2 more teams I wanted to touch up on. This is great. I feel like maybe we should sneak and get Jacob, hopefully he doesn't listen to this episode, so that way we can sneak and hit him with these guess who questions.
Yeah, these are going to be sweet. What's sweet about the Raptors is that I see VanVleet do stuff, but I'm so focused on Siakam and OG that I don't even realize. I'm looking at his stats now. He's been pretty consistent this whole season, doing pretty well. So,
and see, that's another illusion trick, Sharingan, because I'm the same way. Like LT, I would have just been focused like Pascal and OG. I'm just looking at them 2 guys in particular. Everybody else is kind of like blocked out. Of course, I'm going to talk about Bobby Boucher, Chris Boucher, but Fred VanVleet, Flintstone, it's like you're going to overlook him easily, right? So we have 2 more teams, okay? And we're going to jump on to the Sacramento Kings. Now, as you guys know, the Sacramento Kings is typically a fast-paced offense. They've had some issues this year in particular, but it's okay. Now, I will pass you the ball. You got fouled. You're at the charity stripe. Who is the best player currently, given the per value ADP wise, in Sacramento, brother?
Man, so this is a hard one. So this is a hard one because I do have a player in mind that's been killing it. But then there's another player that also has been killing it. But my gut, I'm going to go with my gut. This is a Lewis move here. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say a Bogdan Bogdanovic.
There it is. Good shot. Good shot there, LT. That I'm going to be honest with you. I was kind of concerned because that one is a really tough one, brother. That is a real tough one, brother. So congrats on that.
You want to say healed.
Yeah, you want to say Hield. You also almost want to say Holmes on Holmes, right? Your
Holmes,
boy.
yeah.
Right. So, and then here's a kicker here. What if I was to tell you this? So, you were 2 for 6, so you made 2 quick ones. So that's what 4 for 8 is about. So you're about 50%. All right. But let me say this to you, LT. What if I was to say that Buddy Hield is the 4th best player right now in Sacramento? Would you believe me? That's sad.
That's
really
crazy.
Sad.
Who's third? Yeah. Who's third then, Starks?
Holmes on Holmes. And guess who the second person is, ADP wise?
It's man, hold on.
That's going to be tough to find. Go ahead. That's a tough one, brother.
It can't be Bejeweled. It can't be Bejeweled.
It is.
It's Bejeweled.
Nemanja Bjelica, you got it right. That is exactly. He is the second best player currently right now in Sacramento Kings. That's just gross, right?
That's just weird. Gross. That's such a weird thing, man. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
That's gross.
That's how struggle. I guess how much they've been struggling.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, I'm not going to lie to you, LT Sage, man. This is going to be the hardest team to do.
Okay.
Not going to lie to you. There's actually a collective amount of players and this will be the last Guess Who team, but we will kind of talk about little buy lows. This has been fun. So the team I want to jump into is the fast-paced offense. Used to be slow last year. The Memphis, your favorite team, Grizzlies.
Grizzlies, they're the main team giving you guys an optical illusion that they're fast-paced this year. I know the stats say it, but I don't believe it. Oh yeah, this one's a okay.
Yeah, that's a barn burner.
Okay, this is going to be a toughie. Okay, go ahead, Starks.
All right, so in this team, this is going to be hard. I'm not going to lie to you. If you can make this shot, good job. If you can't, I won't fault you for this. Mm-hmm. So Memphis, as you're looking at the roster, you're drinking it in and you're tasting it, and you're just hopefully maybe that you could pull this shot off. This shot, I think I'll say I'll give you the credit for the win. You know, this one is for the win. Although you're shooting 4 for 8, this is for the win. This is for all the marbles.
Okay.
Who is the best player currently right now, ADP wise, in Memphis?
All right. So it's funny. I'm going to go ahead and go with my gut here again. The thoughtful answer, what most people will say in fantasy is, Ja Rule. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's Ja Rule. I think the answer is actually one of my old favorites, Clam Chowder.
Not too bad, but that's incorrect, man.
No! Is it Dylan Brooks?
Right. It is not Dylan Brooks.
Wow. Either. Wow. Okay. I don't know.
All right. Crazy. So I'll tell you what. This is a foul shot where you took a 3-point shot. You get 3 shots, right?
Okay.
This is one of those.
Okay.
I'll throw in a cheat code a little bit here. I think I've talked about this. Yes, I've talked about this guy recently on the podcast, and I'll just leave it there. Of course, you're probably like, "Oh, you talk about everybody, right?" But go ahead.
No. I was going to say, so it's my man. It's Clark.
That is correct. It is Brandon Clark.
Oh, wow, he's number 1.
He is number 1 in the per game value right now, and he's coming off the bench, 56 overall, and that's what's crazy. You're like, man, it's easy to overlook. So what if I was to tell you this, LT? This is where it gets rough. Dylan Brooks, that was a good guess, right? Mm-hmm. Dylan Brooks is 106 currently this year, and he's second. He's the second best right now. Jeez. That's a big gap from 56 to 106. So keep that in mind, right? The next player that is third on this list is Jonas Valanciunas, right?
Wow.
So you're like, man, where's the main guy that we expect to be good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, right? All right, so cool. The 4th guy is who we think it is, right? Mm-hmm. And guess what? No, it's not. It's your boy, Jay Crowder. He is 4th at 114th ADP. And going back a little bit, ADP-wise for Jonas Valanciunas is 111. Triple J is the 5th best player currently at 150. That is a mess in Memphis. That's sad. So right now, Triple J is looking like a fantasy bust. But if there's a buy low window, because we're going to go ahead and transition to the buy low window, that's the player that I would try to buy low on. Okay. I'll be honest with you. It's not pretty. It's really gross. But congrats on the game, LT. I had to, give you an extra shot, but I think it was worth it because Memphis, this was a rough team to kind of sift through to pick who the best player is currently. That's not to say Brandon Clark is the best player, but I'll say this. In a dynasty format, I wouldn't be surprised if he potentially could in the future. And let's not even mention, I didn't even mention Ja Rule, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't even in that list, right?
That's crazy.
That's another thing that's crazy. So just keep that in consideration. So we'll kind of transition to a couple buy low players, right? But yes, one guy, like I said, I wanted to mention is coming off of Memphis is Triple J. You want to try to buy him when you can. And if you were to do a combo meal, a 2-for-1, and LT's familiar with that, I would probably throw in someone like Dylan Brooks in another piece to try to get Triple J. And honestly, Dylan Brooks has been very well. He's been doing well this year. But that's what you would think a buy low opportunity would be when you package two players to be a player that you're going to get the best player back in return. Hopefully that is, but the bust is definitely on Triple J currently at this time. For those dynasty GMs or owners, they're probably panicking, and I can understand that in an aspect. See if you can dial that GM and poach him off the owner, right? So one player I definitely want to talk about, I want to pass you the ball there, LT. This is kind of hard to swallow. Russell Westbrook, I think he's ranked around the 90 to 86 range this year currently. I will pass you the ball. Are you buying low on Russell Westbrook, or how do you feel about him in particular, man?
Ooh, so this is my thought process. The only thing I would say about Russell Westbrook is that if you're in need for a big man, if for example, if I had Russell Westbrook on my team, I had solid point guards around him, and I was looking for some big men. Maybe a little extra. Because you can get a 2-for-1 for Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is good enough. His name is big enough where you can trade him off to another owner or GM for two solid players that you need to insert into your lineup on a daily basis. Other than that, I still keep him. He's a hold to me, but you can use him. He is definitely trade bait. He is definitely a sell high candidate if you need specific roles on your team. If you need big men and if you need just another body, if you have like dead weight on the end of your bench, you're playing this carousel game with somebody on the end of your bench and they're never producing, you're never hitting, you just want one solid person, and you got Russell Westbrook there, by all means, sell high. But he's not to say that he's not doing well this year.
Well, do you mean buy low? Because he's like around the 80 and 90 range. He's not doing.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Okay. Buy low, not sell high, but buy good. Low. Yeah, buy low for him. Use him as a piece. Use him as a chip. Right. Get some extra value your way. It's probably someone who doesn't look at ADPs. Someone that's not looking at is just looking at these score. Because look at these point totals, Starks.
Yeah, he's scoring.
You can if you got the Opera. Browser like I do, I could take a screenshot of this and say, hey, look at my man Westbrook's points. Yeah. Come on now. You don't want that on your team? And hey, that's true. Don't show him the other stuff, the 6, 7, 5, 7 turnovers he has in those games. But I'll go ahead and pass the rock over to you, Starks. What do you think?
So I think this is a good explanation of that. And I'll also say this, LT, in a points league, he's fine, right? He's going to be a lot higher in the rankings, but in the 9-cat category league, kind of what you said, to show him the points, what he's doing, what he's hurting you at is obviously the turnovers, the field goal percentage, the free throw percentage, his rebounds and assists are down. Even his hustle stats is a little down. It's an unfortunate thing, right? But I would still, man, I'll say this in a dynasty format, to be honest with you, I won't buy him, unless my team is built for the win now situation. And if it is not, then I want nothing. Well, yeah, I want nothing to do with him. Now, in a redraft format, it kind of changes the perspective of it. As long as you're okay, if you're punting turnovers, of course, and you're punting for percentages, just take him. You shouldn't care, but if you're punting both percentages, that will be tough, right? So, that's something to keep in mind. So we'll kind of transition into another player in that aspect, and is Miles Turner. He's been, he's been having owies this year, and he also is around the top 50 range, 51-ish range, and the middle of the pack. I'll pass you the ball, LT. Are you buying low on Miles Turner, or are you a little concerned with him, brother?
Oh, I'm concerned. With Miles Turner. And the reason why I'm concerned with Miles Turner is because of another guy on their squad. And I'm going to click over here. Where is he? Domantas Sabonis. And this guy is the reason why I'm worried about Miles Turner. Not because Miles Turner isn't good. I just want to make sure I emphasize that. Not because Miles Turner isn't good, but Domantas Sabonis is on a 2-year tear. And what I mean by that is that last year he got that time. He was giving that playing time. He kind of exploded last year a little bit. And then now this year he's just compounded that. He's doing crazy things. You see the averages here: 8.6 points, 13.8 rebounds, almost four assists per game. He's killing it, and he's taking away what you expect Miles Turner to give on a night-to-night basis. Miles Turner still is going to get you those blocks. That's what separates those two players. So it all depends on what you need for your team. But if I was a Miles Turner owner and I could maybe sell high, I would definitely do it.
Yeah, this one is tough for me. I'll say this: before the season started, last year I was all about jumping on Miles Turner last year. This year's a little bit different. I just kind of was like, you know what? I think a regression is coming his way in particular. It felt like it. And honestly, let's just keep this also in consideration. He's been hurt, to be honest and helpful for the listeners. But what the issue is here is, let's just wait and let's see what happens when Dippo comes back. Malcolm Brogdon's in the mix. And just like how you've been saying, Domantas Sabonis has been on a killing streak. Jeremy Lamb has been out. And all of this. And then TJ Warren, it's a collective amount of players on this team in particular that is concerned. And obviously, as you know, the Dynasty darling Goga, it's one of those things that I'm concerned about for Miles Turner. He's not a usage player. No. He relies a lot on his block potential, like you had highlighted on. The points, he's not a scorer either. He'll get you some decent points, but he doesn't get you a lot of rebounds for a big man. He might get lucky and hit a snipe here and there. And the blocks, you better get the blocks, because if you don't get the blocks, that's where I could see his value degrading. And as far as buying low on him in a redraft format, well, in the Dynasty format, I'll try to buy him because I think he'll be better. This year, I expected a regression. So in a redraft league, I'll probably be honest, I'm probably not trying to buy low on him. But if someone is if I have him on my team and someone is willing to buy him, I would look, and they're trying to buy low on him from me, then honestly, I would be okay selling him to a jam. Let me see what I can get back in return. And I know that's like the polar opposite, but that's just my thinking on how to go about that, because Miles Turner, he's a good player in the NBA, but I can also see the regression, and it's looking like it's coming his way, right?
Yeah, so, for sure.
Go ahead. You got something else?
No, I was going to say, you touched on exactly, you pinpointed it. I think Miles Turner, there's more talent on that team, right, Starks? So there's just so much more talent on the Pacers now. Domantas Sabonis, who we thought was going to be maybe just a complimentary piece to Miles Turner, he's almost, they're like, who's 1A and who's 1B as far as big men down there? I don't know anymore. And so that those lines are blurred. Is Miles Turner going to be taking as much shots as he did last year? Probably not. So this is one of those things where you're worried a little bit because the talent is rising. Now Miles Turner is kind of shrinking a little bit. So hopefully he can continue to, do better. But I'm with you on that one, man.
Nice. Do you have a player that you think we should try to, or you have one for me that you want me to think if I should buy low on or kind of pass up on? If not, I'll kind of go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have one off the top of my head at this time. I'll try to think of one.
Okay. I'll throw one more out, and then we'll kind of start closing up shop here with the Dynasty player also. Okay. But if you could think of one as I'm pulling one up. Okay. So we kind of talked about him the last few episodes because it was like we were picking on him, and it's. I guess I'll do two of them because I feel like someone else needs to be talked about. Jared Allen. I'll go.
Okay.
I'll go ISO on this real quick, and then I'll put your opinion. So as you can think of someone, so Jared Allen in particular, this season it's been rough. Obviously, the last game that he had, it was good. He has the hot potato game with DeAndre Jordan. That's a concern to deal with this year. In a dynasty format, yeah, I'm buying low as quickly as I can because DeAndre Jordan is not the answer. Although, here's another cheat code for the listeners. This Brooklyn was another team that I thought about considering to put on the Guess Who game because DeAndre Jordan is ranked second, I believe, above Jared Allen, which is just sad. It's hard to fathom this. But that's the reality of it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that these players are going to be better the rest of the season. But that's just something to keep in mind. But as far as Jared Allen goes in a dynasty format, yes, I'm going to buy low on. Even in the redraft league, I'll buy low in that aspect just because he was ranked last time I checked. He's higher now, but he was ranked around the 150 range in particular. And I think Brooklyn, if they continue to lose down the road, it just only makes sense. At least it should make sense. I don't think he'll get fizzed or he won't get fizz pop. At least I wouldn't think so if they start losing, and he should get more bump up in minutes. And that's when I can see his blocks potential get back up along with his rebounds. And he's not a usage rate player either, but he gets those blocks. And so hopefully that will be the case. So I'll pass you the ball there. Are you buying low on Jared Allen or are you pretty much passing up on him, man?
Nah, man, this is a tough one, man. And this is so hard because you, as a GM, you got to make decisions that aren't like based on potential, right? Sometimes the potential of a player just far exceeds their actual production, what they put out on your fantasy team on a night-to-night basis. And it sucks because we see Jared Allen, what he did the last game. We know he has it in him. But then you got DJ. We got this guy, DJ, with crazy percentages. And that's always DJ's calling card. And that's why he's always looking so good on those 9-cat scorecards because his percentages are so clean. Man, so, man, I'm not selling. I wouldn't. I'm not selling. I'm holding out. I would hold out on Jared Allen. I wouldn't, if I could buy low, I would. I think this is a good time to buy low. Now is a good time to buy low before, because it looks like the Nets are not a competitor long term this year, for this year anyway. And next year, I think, is the year in which his role is going to be cemented a little bit better because they're going to have their squad, right? They're going to have Durant, right? So in a dynasty format, I would definitely in a dynasty format, I would buy low right now. This is a good time to get them on your squad for the future. In a 12-man, 14-team league, I almost want to say I would buy low too. Just a good time to buy low on him, see what he can do, and see if he can produce later on down the season as they try to ramp up and give him more minutes. So yeah, you know what? He is a buy low for me. I will go that way.
Yeah, same here. So that makes sense. Did you have someone in mind there, brother, on a buy low potential?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just speak on one player in specific right now. And that player, actually, I had two, but I'm only. If you want to touch up, go ahead, because I'm done. Unless you want to you're
do
good.
Two, that's
fine. Kevin Love. I want to talk about Kevin Love right now. His ADP is 19 right now on the ADP scale. Now, there's a potential that he gets traded this year. But there's also potential that he doesn't get traded and continues to play and do what he's doing on the court right now. What do you think? Do you think you should be selling him, or you think he's a hold? Do you think you should be going for a buy low opportunity with him with the upcoming trade? How should you navigate Kevin Love right now in the season, Starks?
So you made a lot of good points, and I'll tie it up in the dynasty and redraft flavor thought logic. Thinking about that, which you had mentioned, the potential of him getting traded and the potential of him staying. Here's another potential we need to keep in mind is the potential of getting load management if he stays in Cleveland. That's another thing that could potentially be concerning.
Yeah, that's true.
So in that aspect, so that Kevin Love is one of the tough. This was a good one you brought up because this is a real tough situation to analyze because I look at it like this. He would obviously be a sell high candidate for me. Now, in a dynasty format, if you're in a win now situation, and it's funny because in a deep dynasty format, because a lot of people are like, I'm all out on Kevin Love. I'll let someone else get him that is going to try to win now. I took the risk. I got him about the 80 range in a 20-man dynasty league. It's because obviously he's older. He's been riddled with injuries. And that's another thing. We forgot to mention the potential of him getting injured, right? So when's the last time he actually played a full season, right? So that's another inkling that sucks. So I'll say it like this. In a dynasty format, I would still actually try to trade him, even if I'm in the win now situation. See what you can get back. Because I'll say it like this. You might be able to squeeze this, right? You might be able to get a Jeremy Lamb, and this is like the polar opposite in the dynasty format. Typically, it's the 2-for-1. Here's your cheat code. The 2-for-1s, as you guys are familiar with, you trade 2 players to get the best player. You know what? In a deep dynasty format, I'm going to do the reverse psychology and do that reverse. I'm going to load my roster up. I'm going to get someone like Jeremy Lamb because there's a good chance you can get him for Kevin Love right now. And then someone else like, let's see, man, I'm just trying to think of a borderline player. Someone, I'm sure you can get Mikal Bridges, but maybe, just maybe, if you could sneak and get Miles Bridges, you do that because Miles Bridges in Charlotte, he hasn't been having the best season. And if there's anybody to buy low on him, it's Miles Bridges because Charlotte is a wasteland team and he hasn't been showing up. It's been the Graham Cracker show, the Teddy Graham show, the Terry Rozier hasn't been performing. And it's just like, is it just going to be Graham Crackers? No, Miles Bridges is going to do a little bit better this season. Let's not say that this is who he is because I believe he's going to give you the percentages. So if you can somehow squeeze that, it'll be rough, but let's just put it in the perspective in a dynasty format. Try to pair up Jeremy Lamb, see if you can get Miles Bridges, and you might have to pay a little bit back. You're like, okay, well, Kevin Love is not worth that. Then you can throw in a draft pick like, hey, I might be able to get you a second round. And this is your license to deal / cheat code. See if you can you would sacrifice, if you're getting 2 players back in return to make it look good, see if they're willing to take a second rounder from you. And then that's when you close the deal on a team that's probably in a win now situation to get Kevin Love. Because honestly, even if I'm in a win now situation, I don't know if I'm going to hold Kevin Love, but if I'm not getting the right, product back, then I will keep Kevin Love and just deal with it, right? Because he's giving you that value right now. Now, as far as in a redraft, I would still try to trick. I would try to still sell him like hotcakes just because. But you made a good point though, L2, because if he does stay in Cleveland, Cleveland could still trot him out there, but I just don't see that for the whole season. I'll pass you the ball. What's your thoughts on Kevin Love, man? Are you selling or what are you doing there?
Man, I love the insight on that dynasty level, man. That's top tier. So my thought process is redraft, right? And I'm thinking redraft, thinking where he's at now. Even if he's 19 right now, if he continues on where he's going, load management is going to happen. That's 100%. If he does get traded, his value actually might go up. Only because if he gets traded to a high class team, for example, the Blazers, and hopefully we don't continue to suck. But let's say if he goes to the Blazers or just any other team that's vying for those playoff positions, he doesn't have time to load manage. He's not going to have time to sit back and relax and enjoy the end of the season. And so he's not going to have the opportunities. So what I would say for this one, and it's kind of cheating, but closer to trade deadline, start looking at those trade rumors swirling. Try to try to sell Kevin Love before the trade rumors swirl, or try to buy him once they do. So depending on what owner you are, if you're trying to buy him, if you feel like he's going to get traded, go buy him. Because if he goes to a contender, they're probably going to be, especially on the Western Conference. But if depending on where he goes, also depends on his value at the end of the year. But he's on, like, the Cleveland's a wasteland team, right, Stark? So he is the best player on that team as far as his talent and his ability to make shots, and that's why he's doing so well right now. So if you guys put basically said, okay, we want to answer, Sage. My answer is this: sell high. My answer is sell high right now. Mm-hmm. But if rumors swirl that he's going to a contender, then buy low. That's my answer there.
Love it, man. Love it. And then at the same time, although like when you mentioned trade, I think that was a good insight on that. Now, although if he did get traded, his value might still might take a decrease because of who he may be playing with. But one of the things you also mentioned that is very potent and strong is if he goes to a contender, regardless if his production dips a little bit, he's going to be on the floor when they need him. So that's also important to notice and take realization. So I guess we're good in that aspect, unless you want to touch up on one more player. But if not, we can kind of get ready for the clutch shots there, brother.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good, brother. That was a good one.
Yeah, the Kevin Love one was a good one. So listeners, I'll get to the clutch shot on Mo Bamba here momentarily in the Dynasty Outlook. So if you guys make sure, here's your commercial here. Make sure you guys check out newlifefantasy.com. Hit that, mailing list on the left side, or even if you do it on your phone, it's going to pop up. You just submit your email, join the mailing list. That way you'll get blogs dropped into you every time a notification. We not only do fantasy basketball, we do football and baseball as well too in fantasy. Also join the forums and members. And because we have something on the forum list on newlifefantasy.com, it's going to be something that may pique your interest on that site in particular. We're going to go over streaming options for you guys next week on Sunday's episode to get you guys that punch, and next week to get you strong and get going there. And if you're on the YouTube channel, you could just look at that glimpse there on what I put on the forum. That's going to be in sticking out interest of you. And if you guys are interested, I think you guys should take it in consideration. So make sure that you check it out on the website there. Also, Take a Ride Podcast. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating, write a review, subscribe to that. Also on YouTube, make sure you guys sub-zero that subscribe button at the bottom, hit that thumbs up button, comment below. Also, as LT says, make sure you turn that bell on, the dinner bell on, because we're going to make sure that, as soon as an episode is dropped by LT the Sage, he's going to make sure that you guys get it. And if you guys comment below, I will take it in consideration that if you want to see something on the episode, as LT has mentioned, we'll definitely think about putting it on there. It's very important to keep things going, keeps the lights on for us each day if we're going to provide that daily content. So I will pass you the ball, LT, before I get to my clutch shot here.
Yeah, definitely, brother. I appreciate that. My clutch shot, I'm just going to go over a quick, there is a game in progress as we're going on right now. I'm going to do a quick little shadow on this game. It's in the third quarter. There's still a quarter to go. But it's Portland versus Milwaukee. You guys know I'm a Portland fan. We're 5-10. I don't want to talk about it. 93 to 104. Milwaukee already, yes, that's correct, already has 104 points in the third quarter with a minute to go. And we're looking at the game right now. And I wanted to mention this game because I know everyone's going to be talking about Carmelo Anthony. And I wanted to mention something. A lot of people laughed at me, Starks. A lot of people was laughing at me at my job. A lot of people I know when they heard the podcast were laughing at me. They were like, Melo, starting lineup? No. And look at that. The first game back, he was promised a starting role on this team, and he is right now 22 minutes in. He's on a limit. He's on a minutes cap right now, so he can't. I don't know if he's going to play any more minutes tonight. Not too sure. I think it's 25-minute cap, but it's He's 5 for 11, 3 snipes. We saw a lot of the three to the heads tonight. 3 turnovers, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, and 15 points. And this is now I gotta say, this is without Whiteside. This is without Lillard, who he's taking a lot more shots probably at this point than he would normally. But so is Anthony Tolliver. So let's be honest, Carmelo would probably get more of those shots anyway. I really like. I'm gonna just preface that once Lillard gets on the court, I really like what the scoring potential of Portland, but what may happen, as you see already, this is Portland's going to be a team you want to pinpoint. This is what I want to mention. You want to pinpoint for streaming options moving forward, especially when Lillard comes back. Teams are going to score a lot of points against them. That's the cheat code here. They're going to score a lot. These games are going to be like up and down. These games are going to be quick. Basically, the Blazers are saying, okay, we're going to just try to outscore every opponent and hopefully win games. And that's what's going to happen. So keep your eyes loaded on those Portland matchups for the week. It should be definite streaming options for you. Milwaukee, their pace is pretty good this year, but 104 points in the third quarter is definitely more than normal for them. And so you definitely want to keep that in mind moving forward. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Giannis Bledsoe again is killing it. 24 points in the third quarter, 9 for 17. 4 from the charity with 2 snipes, 4 assists. That's crazy. And then Stark Sky, Dante DaVincenzo, he's actually looked pretty good out there. So I just want to touch up on that game real quick and give you guys that little nugget for my clutch shot moving forward in the season.
Nice, man. Nice clutch shot. So the clutch shot I'm going to take is just touch up a little bit on Mo Bamba there for the Dynasty outlook. Obviously, this comes on the situation of Vooch being out for 4 weeks. This sucks, unfortunately, for those fantasy owners. And you know what's crazy is Vooch wasn't doing the same value as he was doing last year. And it seemed like, not to pick on Vooch, because Vooch is a good player, but he was like given top 12 potential last year because he was a 1-1 threat with a lot of good pieces of stats behind it. So this year, Vooch was a little bit slower, but he was still putting up some good numbers. But as far as Mo Bamba goes, he is a dynasty talent. It's going to be hard for him to get, time in the future just because they signed that contract with Vooch. But, the mention is Kim Birch is going to maybe be inserted into the starting lineup. And if not, maybe he still gets more minutes than Mo Bamba. But Mo Bamba, I know, people are kind of out on him because you paid a premium. And that's what I always caution for those people that do startup dynasties. Don't get so into the hype. Don't get so much into the echo on rookies coming out because you might fall on your face flat and hurt yourself, because it just reminds me of Dragon Bender, right? The Airbender. Everybody people paid a high premium on him in the dynasty startup draft, and you see what he's become now. And I'm not saying that Mo Bamba is going to be this player, but if there's some glimmer of light, his future could be okay the next couple years. Maybe this is the opportunity. If he can somehow get the minutes on the court, this is the time that he can at least squeeze something out while Vooch is out. Because Vooch, the report said in 4 weeks, but honestly, he could be out a little bit longer than that. And also, Aaron Gordon was also mentioned to be out indefinitely. So that's another concern. Orlando is going to get a usage rate across the board with the team. I tweeted out about who's going to get lifted up. One of the guys in particular is T-Pain. Terrence Ross from the bench is going to get a nice boost. Also, your guy there, is it Al-Farouq Aminu? I can't believe I'm saying that.
Al-Farouq Aminu.
So he's going to get a little bit bump but it's typically the starters. But Jonathan Isaac is going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries on that team in particular. But if you're going to stream players or make an ad, a waiver wire ad, if you have enough, if it's before it's too late, Kim Birch probably might be the ad first, and then Mo Bamba. Bamba is the block specialist. And the thing is, blocks is a rare category to get in a 9-cat category league. That's why people pay so much of a premium of Mitch Robinson. Mo Bamba is that type of player. If he sees the floor, if he gets those minutes, he can get 2+ blocks, but it's just going to be about if he can find those minutes. Hopefully, Orlando finds a way to squeeze him to get 20+ minutes. I know that could be a pipe dream, but that would be something to see. And if he does that, you could just believe the blocks are going to be there for him. So in a dynasty format, the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be hard for him to see time just because of the Vooch. But the only situation that I'm looking at now is because of this injury, and this is the opportunity for him to move up his ADP value for the future. This is the time now. So that's my clutch shot there. You guys can find me on my Twitter handle. And if you follow me, I'll make sure to add, if you ask me a question, I'll make sure to answer at a prompt time. You can find me on my Twitter handle, which is at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, OneClosingHero. I'll pass you the ball, LT. Where can I find you out there, brother?
Yeah, thank you, brother. They can find me on Instagram at _SageNetwork_. You can also find me on Twitter at SageNetworkX. And it's been a lovely episode today. And God bless all you listeners out there.
All right, listeners, we love you, man. God bless you guys. I hope that you're enjoying this fantasy year. and a different outlook that we're doing at a fast pace, high, pumping up the volume offense here with New Life Fantasy and Take a Ride podcast. So with that being said, you guys have a good evening, morning, afternoon, and take a ride.